So you had to improvise, in a sense, based on what was happening and what the news reports you were getting.
Absolutely. And in terms of what motivated me to bring all the aircraft down, as you see one thing happen, that's an accident. When you see two of the same thing occur, it's a pattern. But when you see three of the same thing occur, it's a program. And so at that point, I decided to bring all the aircraft down.
I wanted to focus just a moment on the Presidential Emergency Operating Center. You were there for a good part of the day. I think you were there with the Vice President. And we had that order given, I think it was by the President, that authorized the shooting down of commercial aircraft that were suspected to be controlled by terrorists. Were you there when that order was given?
No, I was not. I was made aware of it during the time that the airplane coming in to the Pentagon. There was a young man who would come in and say to the Vice President, the plane is 50 miles out. The plane is 30 miles out. And when it got down to the plane is 10 miles out, the young man also said to the Vice President, do the orders still stand? And the Vice President turned and whipped his neck around and said, of course the orders still stand. Have you heard anything to the contrary? Well, at the time I didn't know what all that meant. And
the flight you're referring to is the
flight that came into the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And so I was not aware that that discussion had already taken place. And but in listening to the conversation between the young man and the Vice President, then at the time I didn't really recognize the significance of that. And then later I heard of the fact that the airplanes had been scrambled from Langley to come up to DC, but those planes were still about 10 minutes away. And so then at the time we heard about the airplane that went into Pennsylvania, then I thought, oh my God, did we shoot it down? And then we had to, with the Vice President, go through the Pentagon to check that out.
Let me see if I understand. The plane that was headed toward the Pentagon and was some miles away, there was an order to shoot that plane down.
Well, I don't know that specifically, but I do know that the airplanes were scrambled from Langley or from Norfolk, the Norfolk area, and but I did not know about the order specifically, other than listening to that other conversation.
But there very clearly was an order to shoot commercial aircraft
Subsequently,
down.
I found that out.
I read the whole book, 9/11 Commission, the 9/11 Commission report. I find it a little awkward that they omitted a lot of your testimony. They left very little amount of information with respect to your testimony. My main concern is that in your testimony, you stated that Vice President Dick Cheney came into the POEC office at 9:20 when you arrived, and he was already there. He's gone in front of Meet the Press, and he said that he was there at 9:38. Yet the 9/11 Commission report puts him there at 9:58 that morning.
9:58?
Yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to read it, but it puts him half an hour later. So I don't mean to ask a rhetorical question, but to the best of your recollection, was Vice President Dick Cheney already there at 9:20 when you arrived?
Yeah, I might have been mistaken on the 9:25, but he was already there. But it wasn't 10.
It was a 9:58. Yeah, that puts him 38 minutes later, which does not make sense to us at all.
No, I don't know how that comes about.
So, and I mean, it goes against your testimony, and it goes against his own testimony. I mean, the press, where he said he was there at 9:38, that's a full 38 minutes. So, to the best of your recollection, he was already there.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think you even stated that you also thought that basically he was going through a shooting down order with the young man asking him, was the order still stand? Do you recall that at all?
Well, I was not involved in that conversation. I overheard.
Well, it just mostly that the young man also said the vice president, the order still stands.
I heard that.
And I think what you stated, you actually thought it was a shoot-down order when you learned later that in fact that was not the case.
Yeah. Well, when I overheard something about the order still stand,
Right.
So what I thought of was that they had already made the decision to shoot something down. I remember later on when I heard about the Shanksville plane going down, the vice president was right across from me and said, you think that we shot it down ourselves? He said, I don't know. He said, let's find out. So he had someone check with the Pentagon, but we never. That was about maybe, let's say, 10:30 or so. And we never heard back from the DOD until probably about 12:30. And they said, no, we didn't do it. So by that time.
I'm very concerned because I read this whole book and it's 400 pages of reading and it took a lot of my time, and I read this book and I found your public, in watching the video on your Public Analytic Commission, you mentioned some very important details, these details that we're talking about right now, and yet there were ominously left out of the Final Analytic Commission report. And again, they cut out this whole testimony that you gave on your experience over there, and literally all they left was basically that you had some things to say and that's about it. And again, time being was the biggest thing that all of us, on my blog anyway, we've been wondering about. So, and I think this letter was written by a gentleman in Los Angeles, and basically that's what he was looking for, was basically an answer to, the best of your recollection, was Vice President Dick Cheney already there, basically sitting comfortable doing his thing prior to your arrival? And I believe you said yes to that.
Well, I don't know about being comfortable in the PIOG, but you know.
But he was there.
He was there, yeah.
And 9/29/25.
And so was Mrs. Cheney.
They were both there.
And there were other staff there in the PIOG.
Because this was prior to any airplane hitting the Pentagon. That seems a little
This was
before Flight 74.
Before American Airlines went into the Pentagon.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you so very much.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
appreciate you clarifying this. I really do. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Have you had a chance to add Slade while your testimony
Pardon?
was? Have you had a chance to ask Slade while your testimony was omitted from the final report?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.